Hey y'all, and welcome back to our kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make old-fashioned stewed potatoes. It don't take many ingredients, but they turn out so good. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to peel our potatoes. And you'll just get them peeled, and then you're going to want to cut them into little bitty tiny squares. And if you see any bad spots, just get them cut off. And sometimes years ago, my granny would even leave a little bit of the peeling on them. But I'm going to pretty much peel these good. But if you don't mind the peeling, you could leave a little bit on them. Okay, I'm going to get all these potatoes peeled and I'll bring y'all back. Now this is all you're going to need for your stewed potatoes. You're going to need 4 to 6 potatoes. These are sort of large ones, so I'm going with just 4. A half a stick of butter, 1 cup of milk, some salt, pepper, and I'm going to put a little garlic powder in mine. But now back years ago, my granny didn't put garlic in hers. She just went with salt and pepper. But that's all that you do for stewed potatoes. Okay, while we're chopping up our potatoes, I went ahead and put me enough water in the bottom that's going to cover my potatoes. And I'm going to let that start coming to a boil. Okay, now you can see I've already washed my potatoes and got them peeled, and I did leave probably a few little places on them, but they don't have to be perfect. Okay, the way I do mine is I just cut it in 3 sections and then go down through there and cut it like 4 times, and you get sizes around that like that. Just a little cube is all you're wanting to do. You don't want to cut them too tiny, or you don't want like half or a fourth of the potato either. You want it bite-sized potatoes. Stewed potatoes back years ago was an item that they had almost at least once or twice a week because it didn't take a lot of ingredients to make stewed potatoes. And you can use any kind of potato for this. You could use yellow potatoes, even the little red potatoes. Now this one that's a little bit bigger, I'll probably cut it in 4 sections. Okay. Now that we've got all our potatoes cut up and our water's heating up, we're going to go ahead now and add our potatoes to the water. Okay, now that my water's heating up good, I'm going to go ahead and add my potatoes in my pot. And then to the potatoes with the water heating up, I'm going to go ahead and add just a tiny bit of salt to the potatoes while they're cooking. Okay, and we're just going to let them get fork tender. You don't want to overcook them, but you just want to get them fork tender. Okay, now we're going to make our sauce that we're going to put over our stewed potatoes. While we've got the potatoes boiling over here, we're going to go ahead and start heating up this skillet to make our sauce. Okay, while that skillet is heating up, I'm going to go ahead and add a half a stick of salted butter. And if you didn't have salted, you could use unsalted. And we are going to be using around 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour to get it to thicken up. This right here is just an easy, simple country southern cooking recipe right here. Stewed potatoes. They're so easy, but boy, they taste good. Some of the simplest recipes taste better than some of the fancier recipes. And this is just an old-fashioned meal, a side for your meal. It's just another way to cook potatoes. Okay, now that my butter's heating up good, and boy is it smelling good, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add around 2 tablespoons, maybe 3, of all-purpose flour to our butter. We'll do like 2.5 to start with. And then we're just going to give that a mix. And you want to make sure you cook that flour around at least 2 to 3 minutes so your sauce don't have a flour taste to it. Always make sure you cook that flour down. Now this right here, we're using 1 cup of milk. That's a half a stick of butter, 2.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and we're going to use 1 cup of milk. Now, if you had to, you could use your powdered milk in your pantry. Our video that we talked about yesterday, it has where you can use powdered milk for recipes if you keep it stocked in your pantry. Powdered milk is a good thing to have in case your power goes out. And you don't have to worry about keeping it cold. All right, now we're going to add our 1 cup of milk to our butter and our flour. Okay, I'm going to cut that heat down just a little bit. And now I'm going to add my black pepper. And we're doing around a half a teaspoon for that amount. If you're making a bigger recipe of it for a bigger batch, just add about a teaspoon instead of a half. A little bit of salt. And like I said, I'm going to add some garlic powder. Now, my granny used to never add the garlic powder when she made them for us. She pretty much probably never had garlic powder back then. Nowadays, with the groceries as high as they are, we're going to all have to go back to cooking those old ways and easy recipes without so many ingredients. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit more black pepper because we like a lot of black pepper in our stewed potatoes. And our potatoes are over there cooking good, and I'm going to check them to see if they're fork tender in just a minute. Okay, now that we've got that right where we want it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add about another tablespoon of butter. And then just give that butter a mix once it melts real good. Okay. Now let's check the potatoes. Next week, we're going to be doing another potato recipe. I'm going to show y'all a recipe that an older friend of ours told me about today. I went and seen her, and she was telling me that years ago, her mama used to make cornmeal gravy stewed potatoes. Today, we used flour, but next week, I'm going to make it and use cornmeal and see how they turn out. Now, I've never made cornmeal gravy. If y'all have and you like it, comment down below. But we're going to be doing a recipe next week on cornmeal gravy potatoes. Now I'm going to let y'all see how you want to get them fork tender. Let me pick up one right here. Okay, see how they're fork tender? You don't want to cook them all the way because you're fixing to put these potatoes in that sauce. And you're going to turn that heat on low and put the lid on it and let them simmer and soak up all that flavor off of your sauce that you made. You're just right now trying to get them fork tender. And now you can see that they won't even hardly stay on my fork. Okay, that's just how you want them right there. Now we've got to drain this water off of them, and then we're going to put them in our skillet. Okay, now that I got all the juice drained off of them, the water, I'm going to put them in my skillet with our sauce. We left one in there. Okay, now we're just going to take them and coat them in our mixture we made. Now try not to stir them too much because you don't want to break them up. You just want to fold them in. Now at this point right here, if you think you want some more salt and pepper on them, go ahead and add it. But once you get them all coated real good with your sauce, we're going to go ahead and just put the lid on that. And I'm going to let that be on low and just let that simmer real low and let those potatoes soak up that good flavor from that sauce that you made for your stewed potato. Okay, let's check on them. They've been sitting there. I've just cut the heat off, and they've been sitting there simmering for around about 10 minutes. But look how pretty those stewed potatoes are, y'all. Oh, they're going to be good. Old-fashioned stewed potatoes. Southern cooking. Okay, y'all, I'm going to put them in this bowl just so y'all can see how pretty these potatoes are. This right here just reminds me of my granny so much and my mama. Because back then, they had to make do with what they had. And this is sort of like gravy and potatoes, you could say. They're just fork tender. You don't want to get them too done. You don't want them mushy. But they are so good and filling. So if you're trying to make your money stretch, make you a batch of these old-fashioned stewed potatoes. Your kids just might like them. Your whole family might. But this is an older recipe, and we need to try to keep some of these older recipes still going. It don't have to be fancy to be good, y'all. Give them a try. And this right here is Southern cooking at its best. Okay, y'all, that's how to make old-fashioned stewed potatoes with just a few ingredients. I hope y'all give this a try, and if you like this video, don't forget to give this a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.